Okay, here goes the code elements. First things up, the strategy pattern shown in the blaster and the score. Blaster just takes in a scheme at the beginning of the start, so at the beginning of each scene, it will just get passed in a type of control scheme. The blaster is completely scheme agnostic, so it just takes it in, and then it has its own little functions for moving left, right, down, up, and firing. And then these schemes are also just send the blaster those commands. So it's like the AI has its own little thing. The keys are based on keys. So if you press the A button, it moves left, but that's not no longer inside of the blaster. It's got its own little base class. That's always it's passed through. Sound also does similar. If I can go into it, bunch of stuff. Open. So I've got the sound manager, which is a singleton just for usability, and it's just got a little executor using the execute base, and then that can either execute the sound using the execute sound class, which will make the noises, or I have a muted executor or execute mute, which just doesn't execute the sound at all, so it doesn't play. There's no if checks, it's just at the start of the scene as well. It shows set, it sets the executor. Simple factories and all that. I got factories for things such as the flea and the mushrooms and the bullets. Mushroom factory is a proper singleton. It's got private functions. I'll talk about singletons after this. And whenever mushroom's created, it calls the mushroom. Whenever you call the create mushroom, it calls the mushroom pool. If there's something in the mushroom pool, it creates it. If there's not, if there's nothing in the mushroom pool, it creates a new one. Otherwise, it just initializes it. It initializes either way, but it just gives you the reference. It pops it. And singleton, also, I'm just going to use the mushroom factory for this as well. It's properly implemented. All the functions are private. The public functions just call the private functions through the instance. So it's only ever created once. I have other factories for things such as the high-level managers, things such as, I guess the most high-level manager all is the game manager, which is a big old singleton, which handles things like starting scenes, starting waves, ending waves, switching between waves, going to the next wave. So the really big overarching game mechanics, and it's all handled through a singleton, so anyone can call, when the number of heads goes down to 0, it can call the next wave, that kind of thing. So it doesn't need to have be passed through specifically. The command, I should also show the mushroom thing working. So I'm going to press F1. You see that there's a bunch of recycled shrooms. I just started a tractor and then started a new game, and all these shrooms were destroyed because it changed scenes, and then they were just recycled, and it went up in stack and went back down. Finite state machine is best shown in the Centipede. It has a bunch of states. I'm just gonna show you a couple examples, such as down to left. So it has a state container, offset, rotate, next state, and then those just contain values. The get next state is only ever calculated by the head. I do pass along the state container, but you told me to make it clear that I only pass it down because the state machine is also a container for data. The body segments never use the get next state. It just uses it for the collection of offsets. It just uses it for the offset and rotate. And then obviously the head, when it goes through enough time, it calls the next set state. It sets the next state and it goes along it, and then it passes it down. The body in its update doesn't ever get the next state. It just gets what it's given from the head. Observer pattern, obviously all over the place. The mushroom field, mushroom. The mushroom grid is a good example. It's got all kinds of things for getting various data associated to it, such as the width and the height of the field. It's also got things such as adding and removing mushrooms. Okay, I'm just gonna keep running through as long as nothing goes wrong. The explosion, you've seen it happen a couple times with me killing them, but the explosion is just a simple game object. There's no factory. I've ran out of time, but it just runs through the update until there's no frames left. The frames are just automatically looping using the default teal set animation. Blaster, I've already shown you that in a previous video, as well as the bullet. Sorry if I'm just reading through the thing real quick. States are only ever created once. I will just re-show that. Critters, centipede, states. So the FSM just creates the states, and the so just like down to the left. I'll just press F9 so you can see that it only ever happens once. F5. And now we're just playing the game, and it never recreates the state, even though it did move down and to the left again. So that's easily showcased. That should be everything. Thank you for teaching me all this stuff. I haven't always been great at learning, but this class has been terribly helpful. Is there anything else? Any other housekeeping? Sorry if I'm just taking extra time to make sure I don't miss anything, because that'd be awfully embarrassing. Oh yeah, there's all this very specific stuff. So things such as the player class. The player class, player class, player class, player class. So the player has a manager that switches between them. So it's got player 1, player 2, and player I. These instances just hold data. They don't really do anything. They're just for references. So you can get how many bullets there currently are, what the score currently is. Player manager can switch between them. The critter, I've shown you the spawner before, but I'm just going to show it again. So there's the centipede spawner, the flea spawner, because those are very specific, and then the critter spawner is its own big thing. It can also has the list of all critters to destroy for wave refreshes, and then the alarms just spawn the scorpion and spider based on alarms. It's pretty efficient. There's not a lot of if checks. It's just the alarm goes through, and if the can scorpion only ever really gets called between wait, it gets called just in case. Sorry. Text display. I will show the flyweight pattern. Actually, I will split this up.